Welcome to today's edition of the Gamut Network. We have somebody on the show today that actually I think qualifies as a celebrity, as she was just a part of our show in Miami that we just did. And if you haven't seen it, you can go to the Runway of Dreams YouTube page and watch the runway show that we did in Miami and see this beautiful person who went down the runway. And without further ado, Nat, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So happy to have you. And of course, another fellow redhead who has curly hair, which, as you know, I usually do, just not today. So I always like to start from the beginning. So if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your personal journey, your disability.
My name is Nat. I'm 20 years old. I live in Tampa, Florida, and I have two dogs. I love art. I love acting. It's something I wanted to do since I was a little kid. However, when I turned 12, I was playing with my dad and I fell and I put my hand down to brace myself. And I developed a chronic pain condition called CRPS, which is the highest pain condition known to science.
What does that stand for?
CRPS stands for Complex Regional Pain Syndrome. However, its old name was RSD, which is Reflex Sympathetic Dystrophy.
Wow. And so when you fell on your hand, what happened that opened up the door that for the doctors to realize this is what you had?
The nerves misfire signals to the brain. So when you have an injury or when you play, for example, like when you're going to the stove and if you're going to place your hand on something hot, your brain automatically tells your hand, this is hot, you need to remove your hand. But when you have CRPS, the nerves misfire and it tells you to keep sending the pain signals, just keep sending them instead of sending the healing signals. So I'm stuck living in pain 24/7. And with CRPS, unfortunately, it is spreadable. And when I was 13, a few days after my birthday, I was riding the school bus and a car decided to speed 80 miles per hour in the neighborhood and it T-boned us and our bus tipped over and my feet were caught under a bar in front of the seat in front of me. And unfortunately, that caused a spread of the CRPS to my legs, leaving me wheelchair bound. And after that, we also realized I had several other disorders, such as dysautonomia, which is a dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system, gastroparesis, which is paralysis of the stomach, EDS, which was actually something I was born with, but we didn't know until all of these other diseases manifested, and mast cell activation disorder, which is allergies to the most randomest things that shouldn't cause allergies, such as someone smoking could cause an anaphylactic reaction.
I mean, I have no, my chin is on the floor right now because it is so fascinating how this all has unraveled over you're 20 years old. What you have experienced in the short amount of time is what most people don't experience even in a lifetime. And I can say this firsthand, the joyful, happy demeanor that you have, literally you light up a room, is something that I think everybody can learn from. Because if anybody had a right to complain or say why me or anything like that, it would be you. And certainly in the time that I've known you, I would never have known what you have gone through. So truly bravo to you for your strength and for just obviously finding, and actually let's get into that a little bit. What is your source of strength emotionally?
My source of strength emotionally would definitely have to be number one, my mom. She has been my backbone since day one, although, of course, she's had her struggles as well. When your kid goes from perfectly healthy to sick, suddenly I'm sure the parents' world changes and
It does. I
they
can
have
attest
to
to that.
they have to adapt too. And another thing that one of the people taught me at the hospital was coping mechanisms. But one of the ones that really stuck with me was art. I love art so much that it's been my number one outlet. So I try to do art as much as I can, and it's been a great outlet.
So almost a sense of therapy.
Yes,
And is there a type of medium within the world of art that you prefer?
painting for sure.
Painting. A style? Like is it modern? Is it classic? What are we looking at?
I would definitely say I don't have a style. I just scroll through social media. I see something I like and I kind of go like, "Ooh, I can kind of recreate something like this." And I try my best to piece together something.
And do you post it on social media when you create? Like, can people see your work?
I do not post my work on social media because I'm actually my worst critic. I always
Oh,
think my art is the worst, but I feel like a lot of artists have that trait about
mm,
themselves.
mm.
So,
Well, maybe we can convince you to post one or two so we can let everybody see the amazing work that you do. Another thing that I want to kind of dive into, which I found very interesting when we did our pre talk, is that you're 20 and you are just graduating high school because you were pushed back 3 times during the course of your high school experience. Tell us a little bit about that and why you were pushed back.
I am graduating high school on May 26th,
Yeah.
and I was actually held back 3 years. So I was supposed to graduate high school in 2019, I believe it was. I was held back due to so many absences from medical appointments, hospitalizations, and missing work that I couldn't get in because I was missing the lesson work. And it was really tough for me to just see people my age, like the classmates that I was with, move on to college while I was still stuck in high school. And every year as I got older, I was like, okay, I'm 19 years old and I'm still in high school. I'm now 20 years old and I'm still in high school. And I make a joke that I'm going to be able to drink at my own graduation. And
That is funny and not funny at the
yeah,
same time, but I like to find the humor also in everything that I do. But I want to understand that a little bit more. Was it that maybe the school didn't provide enough outside of school support? Like, I'm going to go with, so Oliver, my son, has had multiple spine surgeries. And when he missed months of school, they had teachers come home and they tutored him. And within our kind of public school system, that was a part of our tax paying dollars went to that. And that's what helped him keep on the pace that he's, age appropriate for his grade. Help me understand what happened in your experience.
our school system does not have teachers that go to the house to do tutoring or for the hospital homebound program. We
Mm-hmm.
did look into that, and their hospital homebound program, unfortunately, is actually very much like normal school. It's over the phone and it's like a conference call, but it is at a scheduled time.
Mm.
So all the students have to call in at a scheduled time with the teacher. and they have a case manager that comes to the house once a week, and they pick up the homework and they drop off more homework. And then the students will do the homework over the phone with the teacher. But the problem is that the classes were, once again, on a fixed timed schedule. So if I had an appointment, for example, at that time, then I would still be missing the class, which did not work for me, unfortunately. So we couldn't figure it out, and we just had to accept that I would be pushed back. With my IEP, though, we were able to move my graduation credits from 24 to 18. So
Okay.
thankfully that helped a little bit, because if it were 24, I definitely still wouldn't even be graduating this year. I'd be graduating next year with my little sister, who's a senior next year, which is still mind-boggling to me.
This is the first time I've heard something like this, and it really is so broken, almost, the system, that it couldn't be worked around what you needed, especially having an IEP. And for those that are listening, IEP stands for
Individualized education plan.
yes, but wasn't so individualized for you, was it? No. But for Oliver, it definitely, benefited him. And I think having a program like that is, or support like that is obviously tremendously important, but not to the detriment of situations like yours. So we're so proud of you that you are graduating and that you have made it through. But I'm even curious socially, how did you manage that? That exactly what you said, that friends were moving on, you were staying stagnant, and then did you have to make kind of new friends with the kids that were coming up in ranks?
I tried to make new friends with the kids coming up in ranks, but it was really hard. They didn't know me, I didn't know them. They kind of already made their friend groups in their freshman year or in their sophomore year, and they kind of already stuck with them. They didn't really need someone new to come in and mingle. So it was hard for me to try to break into a friend group, though I did try. But obviously, now with coronavirus, everything's online, so nobody's talking to anybody. So I don't really have any friends.
Mm.
But with, as opposed to my friends moving on to college, that was really hard. I, um, I would cry every year when graduation season would come along and get into a really bad depression, because I always thought, like, why me? Why did I have to watch them go along? And it's not only about them graduating, it's just that they're also gaining an independence that I'm not going to gain. They are getting to go to live on a dorm. They're going to move out of their parents' house. They're going to have that independence for the first time in their lives, that even when I graduate high school, I'm still going to be here with my mom, which she's great and everything, but I'd still love to, try and experience that independence. But for disabled people, it's even harder, because we have to find those resources. And unfortunately, those resources are even more expensive. I mean, adaptable cars cost as much as a house.
Mm. I mean, there's so much I want to dive into on that because it's so real, it's so raw, and it's accurate. But let's talk about let's talk about something that is manageable. In what is your plans for next year after you graduate? What's the goal?
After I graduate, I'm gonna try to start looking into colleges. I honestly have not done a lot of research, because I've been trying to put my focus this year into finishing without trying to let anything more push me back. So I'm gonna try to look into either community or my local college, which is University of South Florida, and see what programs they're offering. I would really love to get into American Sign Language. Deaf
Mhm.
culture and the deaf community and sign language is something that's really interested me since I was a child and 12 years old. I self-taught myself ever since I was little, and prior to the pandemic, I was going to deaf events and just meeting deaf people and learning sign language. And it was something that brought me a lot of joy. So I'm thinking maybe being an interpreter would make me very happy. And then if not, possibly learning about more about acting, because that's another thing that brings me a lot of joy as well.
Well, we'll help you with the acting at Gamut Management. So we'll take that. And I absolutely, without a doubt, know that you are going to be a success in being an interpreter. And I think that is so. I think sign language in general is so magnificent, and it's something that I think is going to be even more important as our world starts to become more inclusive, that it's just critically important to have that option. So I can't wait to see you soar. And that for sure goes to my last question, which you kind of answered, but I want to even go bigger. And that's about the power of manifestation and a vision board and really putting out there what you want to accomplish in your lifetime. If we got to look onto Nat's vision board, what are we going to see?
If you got to look onto my vision board, you would definitely see interpretation in the future for American Sign Language. You would see probably a lot of activism. That's something I'm passionate about. You would see hopefully more in the acting, modeling career, but as Mindy said, I will leave that to Gamut. And something that I am really hopeful about in the future is adoption. I want to adopt special needs children. That's something that's been on my heart since I was little. So that's hopefully something that I can see in the future. But that's definitely something on my vision board, as well as, just hopefully keep living every day to the fullest as possible and try to keep pushing my body to the limit without letting it get me down.
Well, I mean, Nat, I actually am very rarely speechless in my life, but you really do leave me speechless because your, as I mentioned in the beginning, your energy, your everything, your soul is so magnificent and strong and resilient. And especially when you become a mother. And by the way, the Special Angels Foundation is a foundation that finds parents for kids with disabilities. And we've had a lot of situations where the parents have a disability and they adopt from the Special Angels Foundation. So definitely look into them. They're magnificent humans. And you are going to be everything that you just mentioned on your vision board and more. And we are so lucky to have you as a part of the Gamut, and to, I'm personally lucky to have had a path that led me to you. So thank you so much for being on the show and for being so raw and candid and open. And you are going to be a massive impact in our world.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. If you would like to be on the Gamut Network, please email us at talent@gamutmanagement.com to tell us why you'd be a great guest. Please also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Gamut Network, as well as follow us on social media at Gamut Management. Thank you again. Bye.